Today, we are honored to have co-founder and CEO of Kidizen in the studio with us. Welcome, Dori.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. You guys, I've been listening to you and excited to have a discussion with you all.
Thank you, Dori, and thanks for being here. Thanks for making the time. So let's just get right into it. Tell us what Kittison is for those listeners that aren't familiar with Kittison.
So Kittison is a resale marketplace for parents to buy and sell kids' clothing and accessories. We do really anything kid and baby related. So it could be baby essentials or that the diaper bag or sling, that you're no longer using, whatever it might be. But I would say that a majority of what we have on Kittison is apparel and footwear. All of us have stuff in our closets that our kids have never even worn.
Tell us about Kidizen and how it got started. So what's the backstory?
Mary Fallon and I, Mary Fallon is the other co-founder of Kidizen. We worked together a long time ago at a digital agency, and then we became parents at the same time. And so this was really born out of our own experience as parents. We were kind of shocked by how much stuff comes with having a kid. They're like this tiny little being, yet it requires like an immense amount of stuff.
Yes.
We would have kind of fancied ourselves like minimalists prior to all of this. And then all of a sudden our homes were like flooded with baby stuff. And we recognized how quickly our kids were churning through this stuff. And so we knew that so much of this stuff already existed, and we didn't actually have family in our area. We weren't getting hand-me-downs from anybody. And so we created Kittison to leverage technology to create a hand-me-down network of parents all across the country. Sustainability was really a huge piece of why we created Kittison. Again, just there's so much of this stuff already out there as kids churn through it, and it seemed almost excessive in a way to buy all of it new. So I'm a thrifter at heart, so I've always been into buying secondhand, and same with Mary. We just created Kittison to create a community for all parents who are seeking.
I love that. Yeah, parents are constantly looking for ways to swap those clothes, swap that gear. And I see it in the Kittison economy, right?
Yeah.
Like parents are like, hey, I need to get rid of this stuff. And then with that money, we'll go ahead and just recycle it all the way through. Like you, I was a thrifter at heart. And that's how I started reselling online, is with my used maternity clothes, and my kids' clothes is what kept it all going.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing that is, I think, unique about kid stuff, is that you're constantly needing to acquire more and get rid of stuff. Whereas with women's fashion or men's fashion or, other items, you don't have to buy that, that new dress, or maybe if you have an event, but I have stuff in my closet that I probably wore in college. So, you can hold on to it and wear the same thing. But with kids, you're going to be sending them off to school in a pair of floods if, you don't size them up, so there's just as much stronger need, versus even a want when it comes to kid stuff.
So let's go a little deeper into what can be sold on the marketplace and maybe a little bit of what can't be sold.
Yeah. So again, anything kid and baby related. So we have clothing, obviously, accessories. You can do toys, books, baby essentials, like swaddling blankets and nursery decor. And then we do actually have a section. It's our mama section, which is women's clothing. And essentially that was the result of a lot of our sellers saying like, hey, we really don't want to have to go to a different platform to list our own stuff. Can you please, let us list it here? So we do have women's stuff. I would say, though, our focus is always going to be on kid and parenting needs. But yes, you can, I buy all of my clothes on Kittison, in the mama section. And there's amazing, wonderful stuff there. But our focus is on the kids item. So stuff that, we prefer that people don't list. Sometimes we get like makeup or homeware type things that are not specific to like a baby nursery or a kid's room. But otherwise,
Absolutely. I think it's always, when I talk to sellers, people are actually surprised because they think kids' clothes. And like today, I just listed some crib bedding
oh yeah,
on Kidizen. And
yeah,
I'm like, yeah, you can do nursery items,
yeah,
crib sheets, blankets. You
yeah,
can do the toys, the dolls, the books, like you said. And then people find out, oh, well, I can list some mama stuff on there too. I can list maternity clothes. I
yeah,
can list those jeans that I outgrew or undergrew, you know?
yeah,
And I think a lot of sellers are really surprised to hear that.
yeah.
And it really gets them on the platform. And I think it's very clear when you visit Kidizen that you go on and it is very kid focused, but also sustainability focused. What is the mission of Kidizen?
Our mission is really centered around connecting families so that we can support one another through sharing, ultimately for the betterment of our future generations and our planet. So I would say that it really is twofold. Sustainability is a piece of it, which is important to us as parents because we are going to be leaving this planet to our kids, our grandkids, and so forth. And then the other piece is really that connection of families through sharing so that we can support one another through this parenting journey, which is kind of crazy and intense at times. And I think that when we become parents for the first time, it can be a pretty isolating experience. And so finding a community, yes, this is about buying and selling, but finding that community of other parents where you're getting those items, you buy your kids, a new outfit or something, and then it comes with that note from the other family.
Yeah.
And there's a lot
Yeah.
of these connections that happen that is, an outfit that made it through 3 or 4 different families. And then, we have photos of all the kids wearing the same outfit.
I
Which
love
we love.
That's cool.
And I think that piece of it is, because we're talking about our kids. What is more, connected to your heart than that? And sometimes we're passing on items that have memories associated.
Yes.
And so seeing it go to another family is
I
important.
I love that you're building a community and you've adjusted to your community. Like I love the mama category.
Yeah.
And so a couple questions. When did the mama category come about? And then let's talk about Hello Kittison Facebook group a little bit.
The mama category came about, we were a few years in. So we launched in 2014, originally just as an iOS app.
Okay.
Then we added Android. Web is kind of the third, I would say I always recommend that people download the Kidizen app because that's where the full feature set is. It's been a couple of years that we've had the mama category, but it took us a while because we really have been adamant about staying focused on this vertical and not wanting to dilute our community by, starting to add all of these other categories.
Sure.
I think that what people really cherish about Kidizen is that it is this community of other parents, and that feels really good, so we wanted to stay true to that. So intentionally, we're like, okay, we wanted to add it because we were hearing from our sellers, and they were just, there was a strong voice from our sellers requesting it, and we wanted to provide that for them, but needed to do it in a way that was, true to who we are as a community.
My son is 13. So my wife, 13, 14 years ago, connected with some moms on a message board and they still keep in touch. So I think and dads aren't like that. It's like, I have friends that I haven't talked to in 5 years. I can call them today, we'll hang out, everything will be fine. But moms have that special connection and the baby thing. And this is great that you were able to, contribute to that, but they would do some of the same stuff like back before they could sell stuff. But that connection with moms, and it stays beyond having the baby. And when the kids are grown up, they keep in touch. And it's like you said, too, you're providing a means for them to also keep in touch, develop that community and maintain that connection.
There are so many people that will, one, talk about how, they came to Kittison for a very practical reason to buy or sell, but they have stayed because of the community. And people have friends through Kidizen, which just blows my mind. But I love hearing the stories of people having really good, strong friendships with other moms, and they met through Kidizen. And, pre-COVID, we would see posts on Facebook and Instagram of people getting together, in-person meetups and, connecting now in other ways, since we can't do the in-person quite as much or as frequently. And I love it. I love it. I love seeing that. We've done meetups here in Minneapolis. And it's always so great to see the faces, and it's so energized and fun.
Hello Kidizen is the Facebook group, and absolutely follow on all the other social channels. We'll put links in the show notes. And even my kids are 25 and 19, so they're older, but I still, just like Doug said, feel that connection with the moms, or even helping out the younger moms, that may be like, oh my gosh, how did you guys do this? And and I still feel that it's not just about selling stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it is about selling stuff, but there is that deeper connection, and there's the deeper connection on the Kidizen app too. With different groups that you've created, and I love that so much.
Hello Kittison is so fun, because that is, we have people in Hello Kittison that were started on Kittison back when we launched, like in the early days, like before we even had payment processing, available. We started very lean in the beginning, and they're still with us, and a lot of them are in the Hello Kittison Facebook group. And they, over the years it's evolved, but there's a lot of activities that happen in Hello Kittison, but also in the Kittison app as well, that are user run and generated groups, and activities of all sorts, everything from, share groups, which would be, a common thing that happens a lot, to, we have a group of users who run what they call Kidconomy, which is a big, now it's a big deal. And, but it's all, that did not come from us. That was user generated and run. Users get together and do giveaways, and there'll be, for a long time on Hello Kidizen, there was like a ladies' night on Thursday night, and like all these other like fun sort of activities that they that they do. And I love it.
This conversation is going on out there, and you guys can participate and bring it to you. And you've got the Kidconomy, you've got the Kittison site, you've got Hello Kittison, you've got the blog, your community. And so you've got that community connection, but we also touched on sustainability a little bit early on. And that's something that's blown me away, that I've learned so much more over the last year. So let's talk about that, how Kittison helps with sustainability, how you got involved in sustainability, and what it means to you.
It's interesting. A lot of us, any parent is going to have that, bins or piles of stuff that your kids have outgrown. You need to do something with it. I think a lot of us have donated stuff in the past and feel like good about doing that. But the reality is that I think only 15% of the stuff that you donate actually makes it to another family. The rest is still ending up in landfills and other places that isn't great for the planet. Obviously, giving it to other families is another option as well, which is wonderful if they want and need it. But I do think that oftentimes as parents, you have friends that are unloading stuff to you, and you're kind of like, I have, enough. Like,
right.
And it's not always the right season or the right style. And so for us, reselling is a way of guaranteeing it's going to somebody else who wants it, needs it, and is going to use it. And I think that is important for people to understand when they're thinking about the options that they have when they're done with items, right?
What stands out to me is Sendle and the brand partners. Like when you recycle, you can get those, like those really stand out to me. And like Doug, I have never had this, maybe, I don't know why, but this sustainability mindset until the last couple of years, and it's really all stuck out to me. And those are things that stuck out to me for Kidizen.
Yeah. And I think it's hitting us hard right now too, worldwide, the problem that we're faced with and that we're going to leave to our kids. The shipping piece of it was important for us to find a partner. Sendle is carbon neutral. So they offset any carbon emissions that are produced when we're shipping this stuff, which is the one downside to doing it the way that we do it, where items are shipped. It's really important to us to have that partnership that helps us to that piece of it more sustainable. And then the brand partnerships are also really critical to our mission, because it's really about helping other brands help their customers extend the life of the things that they purchase. So we're all about buying high quality items that will last, right? Fast fashion it's unfortunate, right? It's kind of like disposable clothes. You're going to wear it once, it's going to fall apart, you're going to throw it away. So, we believe in buying higher quality items that will last. Most of our, the folks on Kidizen buy new as well as used. It's a mix of things, but we recognize that higher quality items are going to cost more.
Right.
And that's tough. So getting people in the mindset of understanding, okay, I'm going to buy these pair of shoes and they're going to cost $50. And that's a lot, knowing that my kid's probably going to outgrow them in about 2 months. Knowing, that they can be resold for $35 and that it's a much better option than buying the $15 shoes that might even fall apart, in the next however long. So getting people in that mindset of knowing, okay, I can buy something, I can access items that are higher quality. I can resell it to make my money back, to get a return on my investment. And ultimately, that's going to be a much better process for the planet versus the other options that we have. So working with brands and helping them tell that story about the resale value of the things that you can purchase, and then making it easy for their customers to extend the life of those items. That's a big piece of where we're headed and moving forward. And then I would say the other big piece of where we're headed is a heavy focus on our Style Scout program. It's pretty unique to Kidizen. Again, we're leveraging our community really to take the next step, both in terms of helping other families consign the things that they have when they don't have the time, but also supporting, we have power sellers now, all across the country who are ready to take their business to the next level. They're ready to go beyond just selling the items that their kids have outgrown. And so we saw it organically happen where people were instinctively, taking on items from friends or family or other people in their neighborhood. And so we made that an official program where people can become Style Scouts, which is, they're not employees of Kidizen, but they are given the tools that they need to be basically a white glove consignor that will sell on behalf of other families in their neighborhood. So they literally go and make house calls and will pick up the items, and they have clients. And then on the back end, Kidizen supports it with all of the accounting that happens. So Style Scouts have a certain, setup in our system where when they list something, they can assign it to a client who also has an account on Kidizen. They can determine what that percentage split is between the two. And then when those items sell, the split automatically occurs. So after shipping and fees and whatnot, the client gets money into her account, and then she can either use those funds to buy on Kidizen, or she can cash them out to her bank account or to PayPal. So it makes it really easy for the Style Scout to manage all of the accounting side when you have a bunch of clients and you have money you need to pay out all over the place. That piece of it is a lot easier. And then we help our scouts with finding clients. We do have a scout finder on the website. So if you go to Kidizen and then you go to sell, it'll ask you whether or not you want to sell yourself, or do you want to work with a Style Scout. And we have about 150 across the country. So now we have scouts in, most kind of large areas across the country. So you can find one that's near you, and then you connect with her through Kidizen, set up an appointment and whatnot. I would say it's the easiest, most profitable way to consign your kids' stuff if you don't want to list it and sell it yourself. Plus, our scouts understand what the resale value is of a lot of the stuff that you have. Whereas, you're not always sure if you, take it to your local consignment store, if they understand that that's like something really nice or a really good brand or a really high quality item. And you don't want to get, $2 for your Matilda Jane.
Right. Well, and not only that, I can see that, some moms have the setup for it and they have the mindset for it. They know how to, I've got a picture set up and I know that I can take pictures while my children are at school or if they're at this, to where the other mom has a lot of stuff, but they don't have the setup and they don't have the time. It's kind of that perfect marriage. I knew of Style Scouts. I didn't know exactly how it worked, but that is amazing that Kittison has that whole back end for both the buyers and the sellers. And what I really love, we're sitting here talking about recycled goods, but what also resonates in my head is you could just recycle that money too. It all stays right there. Like I have a balance on Kittison from some sales. I can go in right now and take that money and buy something.
Oh, yeah.
Used, wear it, sell something, and it just kind of all,
right.
It's that circular economy right there on the app.
Absolutely. The Style Scouts allow us to bring that to people who might not have otherwise considered selling on Kittison. They just don't have the time or whatever. And I think a lot of people, it's not for everybody, right?
Right.
And a lot of people are hesitant to sell because, they're like, well, then I have to figure out the shipping and then I have to, do all of this other stuff. I think in time, so many people come on Kittison just as buyers and then they see how easy it is to sell and they want to be able to fund, as their kids size up, to fund those purchases. And so they learn how to do it. And it really, as it's not that hard, right? But I think it can be overwhelming to some who are just not ready, to do that. And then the other piece of the Style Scout program is that it helps to support our brand partnerships. Brands have a lot of inventory that may end up in landfills or other places that aren't that great. And we are happy to take that on. So whether it's like returns, which, is difficult for brands to, returns is a pain point for them, right? Because they have to re-inventory it. Sometimes it's, damaged or they're no longer selling it and whatnot. So returns is one. Overstock, might be samples or slightly damaged and whatnot. So with a lot of our brand partners, we're able to channel that inventory to our Style Scouts and they resell it. And it's the same setup where essentially the brand is the client. And so they're selling it and doing a percentage split and the brand, makes back money and our scouts make money. And it's a great way for them to access more inventory and really good inventory. So in a lot of locations, we're able to set up the connection between the brand and, it might even just be like the warehouse person for the brand. And they do regular pickups. Once a month, they'll go and, pick up the returns or whatever overstock inventory they have and do that on a regular basis. So we like that piece of it because it helps our brands, but it also helps our scouts grow their business and access more inventory that they might not have been able to access otherwise.
Yeah, and the customers get access to maybe some discounted things that they don't mind if the tags are removed or, there's this tiny flaw because their child's only going to wear it for 2 months anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like a whole win all the way around. I did not know that with the brands and the Style Scouts. That is so interesting. I'll have to hit you up to see what's in Colorado.
It's tough because we don't like to overpromise it, because it really is dependent on where you're located and where our brands are located and whether or not there's like that location matchup.
What's next for Kidizen as a company and for the community?
The brand partnerships are a big one for us.
Yeah.
I think that we're at a point when we talked to brands years ago, they're like resale. Oh, I'm not going to get, it was kind of like the early days of social media when brands were like, I don't want to get involved with social media. People are going to be saying things that we can't control.
Mm-hmm.
And now social media is like the number one marketing, platform for most brands. We're seeing that sort of evolution happening with resale right now. When we talked to a lot of brands years ago, they're like, oh, not resale, that's going to damage my brand, or it's going to cannibalize my business, or it's going to,
Yeah.
The best brands out there have a really passionate resale community. Like those are the brands, and we can see them, like brands that are doing really well on Kidizen that have like a really passionate community around them. Those are the ones that are going to survive and thrive.
Mm-hmm.
And we have like indicators of like, yep, that brand, that one's gonna do well.
Exactly.
So it's something that they really should be embracing. I mean, obviously I'm biased, but
Yeah.
And both Mary and I actually come from like a marketing brand building background. So we're able to see a lot of what's happening on Kittison through that lens. And we're like, this is amazing. Like the amount of brand discovery that happens on Kittison it's amazing, especially parents where you become a parent and you're entering this whole new world, whole new set of brands that you never knew about before. And you have other moms telling you what the good ones are. It's perfect. Yeah. It's like, it's a quick, fast way to make that introduction into the product world as a parent. So I think, brands now are starting to understand that, okay, yes, resale is something that I need to embrace, I need to support, and it is a great way for me to, show our commitment to sustainability, to show our commitment to quality products, right? The ones that are getting into resale are the brands that have high quality products that can last. And where we're headed is really to help facilitate a lot of that for brands and to be their resale partner. We want to take the top kid brands out there and be their resale partner and really help them, because parents want that handful of brands that they can trust. Because as their kids churn through sizes and they're having to buy size 3 month, then 6 month, then 9, then 12 month, and then, and so on and so forth. You don't want to have to stop and think. You want to just be able to go back to that trusted brand and those products that your kids will like and that will feel good on their skin and whatnot. And so helping brands establish that sort of cyclical process with their customer base, I think, is something that we can certainly provide and help them thrive. And we want the good brands, like the ones that are made out of good material and that will last and that are committed to sustainability. We want to help them because it goes back to our core mission.
And I can totally see that as a mom, hey, that brand, I think it's great, but I can't afford a $40 t-shirt. I'll get it used on Kidizen for $25.
Yeah.
And I fall in love with it.
Yeah.
And I see it and I'm like, okay, now I don't mind spending that
on
their quality products because I have 2 kids and it can just be handed down.
Yeah.
And then I can sell it again, and so the brand
Exactly.
and just like you said, the brands see that, and I see that with Kidizen and I see that as a mom and I see that, just in other brand fashion.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm an adult-ish.
What?
Adult-ish. And Liz knows my wardrobe. I kind of have a uniform. It's like jeans and t-shirts. But it's interesting too with my son recently. I mean, he's very brand conscious. So it's like skate brands and things like that. And, you try to teach him about money as teenagers and all that. And so now there's this pair of Air Jordans that he wants. And they're around $100, which is pretty good for vintage Air Jordans. So it's like that. Maybe we can, that's not too bad. But on the other hand, so I don't know if you ladies know this, but Crocs are back and they're big. I couldn't believe, I never liked them. They're comfy. I'd never liked them, but the kids are wearing them. My son, I think, wore his red Crocs to school today. And then they decorate them with the little pins. There's this pair of collectible $800 Kentucky Fried Chicken Crocs that he wants that smell like chicken.
No.
I'm like, no.
I said, I'm not. Shoes smelling like chicken.
Exactly. And I said, well,
especially when you're a teen boy, those shoes are going to smell like sweaty chicken.
Exactly. His feet probably already do do smell like sweaty chicken. But I said, no, I'm not buying those for you. And he said, well, I'll save up for them. It's like, first of all, you have no income, and I'm not going to let you save up to buy $800 Crocs.
Yeah,
But
I know. As
brands
parents,
and
we got to help them make, not make bad choices.
yeah.
Be it sustainable, and
Right.
nobody else is going to be wearing it,
That's the thing that makes resales cool now in so many
Yeah.
ways. I mean, the stuff that you can find on Kidizen for your kid is so much more interesting than going to the mall and buying the same thing that everybody else on the playground is going to have. I mean, we have people who are into vintage kid stuff. There's handmade stuff. There's just so much more variety, and the parents that are on Kidizen are the ones that are like, they want more unique options when they're shopping for their kids. And that's what resale can provide you.
I love that, what you said, like the vintage brands. It just takes me back to the 90s Oshkosh bibs that are hot, that parents are going after because they wore them.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh, I bought those for my son. I should have held on to them for 25 years. Right? No. but it's so interesting to see that is hot, and that is back, and that is what the younger parents want.
Yeah.
I love
and it's cool to see like the heritage brands like that, do that. Like Oshkosh, it's a heritage brand, and they're built to last. At least, they certainly were, back in the 80s and 90s. So
yes.
That's cool.
Well, I'll go back farther because you're triggering memories. Our Buster Browns and I remember Garanimals. You would match up the animals, right? And there's your outfit. I remember that. That's great. From a brand perspective, you've built this community, and with that comes that brand loyalty, and then the marketplace royalty, and people are sticking around, the kids are getting involved. That's great. And so we've covered a lot. Is there anything else that we didn't cover, or anything else you'd like to add?
I would love to hear from, and anybody is welcome to reach out to us. hello@kidizen.com is a great way to get a hold of us. We would love your feedback. We always love hearing from our community and what they're needing and wanting. We have conversations with our team all the time about, we have a roadmap and items on the backlog and all the feature set that we think is going to make Kidizen a better platform. And then, we hear from our community and they're like, oh, really what we need or want is that. And we're like, really? Wow. I don't know if we would have ever thought of that.
Yeah.
But it does require us staying very close and connected. Hello Kidizen allows us to stay close and connected and really hear what people are wanting. But we love those emails from people who, just like, okay, Kidizen, here's some feedback. And they just like lay it out, because ultimately we want to make this easier and better for our community. We want to make it easier for more people to start selling. I think that the world is going through this sort of transition right now where people are embracing resale more and more. And we want to open up Kidizen to folks so that they can see how great it can be. How shopping on Kidizen, it feels good. It feels good to buy from another family. It feels good, for your money to go, directly to somebody else. It feels good to get something from another family that often has the handwritten note on it, and to connect with them. And it doesn't always have to be, that personal. It's a fun way to shop. It really is.
I appreciate you taking the time. I know you're busy. I cannot imagine. So we really, really appreciate your time and coming on and sharing all of your thoughts and sharing Kidizen with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's great to see a company like Kittison that is doing this, creating this community, has a sustainability focus. But I love too what you said about listening to the community and putting that, we hadn't even thought about that, because that's what you have to do. You have to listen to your people, because that builds into the loyalty. And sometimes it's super hard to steer that big bus, but it takes some time.
I know that a lot of your listeners are sellers and, are selling on other platforms, which, I think that selling on any platform is wonderful, because you're doing a great thing. Because I do think that, this is, you have a very captive audience here of people shopping specifically for kids stuff. I think that we do get some misconceptions about our fees. We'll often see comments like, the app reviews saying that our fees are high, but Actually, they're lower than most. Our fee is 12% plus 50 cents. So when you compare it to other marketplaces, it is a lower fee. And then the other piece that our shipping, the way we've structured our shipping is specific to kids' items because you don't want to spend $7 to ship a onesie.
Right.
Right. I mean, and so the way we have structured our shipping is to accommodate the lighter weight items. So essentially how it works is, as a seller, you can price things by saying this is $20 shipping included, or you can price it and say this is $15 plus $5 for shipping. Really, it's just a matter of how you want to show the price. And then when you sell the item, you're given options in terms of the different shipping labels you can purchase through Kidizen. You don't have to. You can buy your shipping anywhere and just enter in the tracking. Shopping for kids, I mean, depending on who you are, it's not fun for everybody, but for a lot of people, it is a lot of fun. It's a lot more guilt-free than shopping for yourself.
Yes.
You know, we get so many moms on Kittison, talking about how they love to shop for their kids and they will buy all sorts of like wonderful things. And then they look at them, what they're wearing, they're like, I won't shop for myself.
Oh yeah.
I'm done shopping for myself. I think when you have a kid, you turn that phone camera around and you're no longer doing selfies. You're just following the kids around and taking their photo. So you'll dress them nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then when you're a grandparent, you're like, oh, I can just do both now.
I can do both. I can dress myself and
yes.
the kids. Yep. And now, a goal of mine is one of these holiday seasons, we're going to get people really willing to buy secondhand for gift giving. And I would say that especially for like the younger kids, their toys don't have to be brand new because they're not going to know.
Yeah.
And it's a great age at which to get them into the habit of like, secondhand is fine. It's great. It's,
Yeah,
it's just as good as new. It's
exactly.
the same.
Yeah. So, I really hope that maybe, hopefully this is the holiday season where people are like, yes, I'm going to consider secondhand. Well, thank you so much, you guys. This has been great.
Thank you so much, Dori. We really appreciate you joining us and taking the time and telling us all about Kittison.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.